Good night, everyone, and welcome back to another DTools Cloud After Dark webinar. Thank you for being DTools customers, tuning in and giving us so much helpful feedback. Like always, I'm going to breeze through a PowerPoint of our agenda before we dive in, and at the end of our presentation, we'll do a live Q&A to talk more about the software and how we can help. If you're a new user, welcome to the DTools Cloud team. I'm Leanne. I also go by LB, and I'm a customer success manager here at DTools. I'll be hosting this evening. Andre and Tiffany are also customer success managers, and we're here to help train you guys, coach you on best practices, and pass your feedback on to our product and development team. Megan and Veronica are your DTools Cloud account managers, and they're here to help guide you as you onboard and maximize your use of the software by adding training hours and services to help you guys to scale your businesses. All right, so again, we're getting back to the basics. So we're going to get started by running through our settings and some basic setup. If you haven't already, please pull up your software and check off some of these items with me. We'll talk about adding more information to your company profile, making it easier to design your proposal templates, our integrations and where to get connected, setting up important things like your taxes and your labor types, where to get connected to your suppliers, and more. We're going to create a new opportunity together, and I'll show you some of our best practices when building a quote in our list and individual quote. We'll talk about easier ways to create packages, how to create alternates and optional items to quickly help your clients approve their own proposals in real time and customize those proposals to win these bids. And as always, I'll be sprinkling in some of my favorite tips and tricks, like mass updating margins on a quote, which is major, and turning on client mode when quoting in front of a potential customer, just to name a few. All right, and hopefully everyone can see my opportunities now. But before we dive in, just a disclaimer, guys, I'm going to be taking some pauses after covering certain topics, just in case people are updating their own profiles or taking notes. But remember, this will be recorded and sent out to all of you. Okay, well, let's get started in our settings, and let's find your company profile. All right, so under your company address is where you guys can add more company details. I always suggest pulling up your website and just start copying and pasting things here. Add your social media links, right? We have some testimonials here. My reviewer, my quote, and I just added a nice image there. Awards, and you can also add your case studies here. So these are the different kinds of services that you offer that you can add to your portfolio. And I'll just click into my conference rooms here. My title, I could add a description if I want, and then I've added 2 images here that they can scroll through on my proposal. All right, so while we're editing the proposal later, I'll show you how to quickly pop in all of this good detail. Again, case studies, awards, testimonials, your professional licenses, and your social media. Nice place to get started. All right, integrations. Under our integrations tab is where you'll find our third-party integrations. If you're using QuickBooks or Xero, I highly suggest getting connected. Once a proposal's been accepted by your client, you'll be able to push your estimates or payment requests over to generate invoices and get paid. All right, it takes no time. Just hit the get connected button and pop in your credentials. We also have some really cool CRM integrations. And if you guys ever have any questions or need help getting started, just reach out to us via chat here in the bottom right corner. Our integrations manager follow up with you. All right. Under the catalog tab, we're going to find fulfillment locations. If you have multiple offices or simply doing business in different locations, states, counties, etc., that require you to change your labor rates, create those locations here. And then I'm going to show you how this ties into your labor types in a minute. All right, so new fulfillment location and just pop in the name. And I have some cities listed here. All right, so that brings us into our labor types. I'll give you guys another 10 seconds there. All right, so labor types. Here you can configure your hourly costs, which you guys pay yourselves, and your hourly pricing, which is what you guys charge your clients for specific labor types, right? I have installation, programming, project management. I might have different rates for different technicians here. All right, so let's actually drill into my installation labor type. All right, again, that hourly cost and hourly price. I'm connected to QuickBooks and Xero, so I'm mapping to my labor types there or my labor services there as well. But where I really want to go is here to enable my fulfillment locations. So I'm going to click this button here, and there are those cities that I showed you back under the fulfillment locations. Right, so it's a little bit hotter in Miami and in Vegas. There's a little bit of a difficulty factor that I'm going to bake in here. So my hourly cost is a little bit more expensive, and the same thing here for my price. Right, so I'm charging about $15 to $20 more. Right, and so when we create a new opportunity, I'm going to show you where we're going to select this fulfillment location, and then again, it's going to adjust our hourly rates. So check out my labor types here. And I also have my itemized labor option turned on, which means that I'm tying my labor to my equipment, right? We give you guys two options. You guys can also turn this off and then just pull in these labor types as line items and mark them up. I'll show you what that looks like in a quote, right? But totally up to you guys. All right, adjustments. These are different fees and add-ons that you can add to your product and labor totals in your quote summaries. And you can auto apply these adjustments to every quote so that you don't have to remember each time. So for every quote that I send out, I'm always going to apply a design fee because I also send out a visual quote. So you're going to have to pay me $250 off for it, right? I also have a miscellaneous materials adjustment here. And so I'm taking 5% total on each quote. And I'm going to bake that into my summary as well. Right, so some extra wire, some nuts and bolts. I just want to make sure that I'm accounting for everything. Right, so I have my design fee, miscellaneous materials. I also have shipping and handling, and then I add my travel expenses when necessary, and I adjust this number. All right, and our taxes. We do have an Avalara tax integration. So by turning this toggle on, we're going to automatically set your taxes based on the project address that you pop in when creating an opportunity, right? So you don't have to worry about updating counties. Just let us do the work for you. You don't have to worry about taxes. Right, but you can always manage your own taxes here below. Just create your tax rate and make sure that your default product tax here is selected. Mine is grayed out because I'm connected to Avalara, but click in this drop down and select your default product tax. Don't send any quotes out with no tax. All right, so under the quote tab, I'm going to find our payment terms. All right, so payment terms are an important part of your proposals, and you want to make sure that you set these up appropriately to hold your clients accountable and make sure that you're getting paid on time as the project is moving along. Right, so we originally set you guys up with some standard terms, but feel free to edit your percentages or your fixed amounts. I know we start you guys with new construction here, right? Rename them, add your payment terms, change these numbers. And of course, you can always create new ones. All right, so I've created an 80/20. This is my quote defaults, but I also use my 50/50 from time to time. And we can actually walk through creating one. Let's just create a 50/40. Actually, let's just do 60/30/10. All right, open our deposits. In progress here. All right, and then our final at 10%. All right. And then before we head out of settings, under the proposal tab is where you guys will find your proposal templates, but I wanted to call out our valid until days feature. So for all of my users, after they share a proposal with a client, I want our proposal to be valid for only 30 days, and then I want it to expire, right? And our client has to reach out to us in order to get an updated proposal. So this is really important because price changes happen all the time. You guys don't want super old proposals out there floating around from 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and then our clients accept them. All right, so have them expire and have your clients reach out to you for an update. All right. I'll give you guys a minute to save any changes you've made before moving on. But again, this is recorded. All right. So we're going to head out of settings, and I'm going to find the catalog tab here. Up in the top right corner, there's this blue Manage Pricing button. Notice I have these two tabs. My pricing is any of the partners that I'm already connected to. This is where they're going to be listed. And then we also have the Available Pricing tab, which is going to give me all of the partners that D-Tools is partnered with. All right, so when I'm ready to get connected, I'll just pick on one of these. Let's say I want to pull in my Savant pricing or cost. I'm going to request access here. Make your disclaimer, accept pricing, pop in your email to get connected, and then we're going to pull in your specific dealer costs. All right, some of these partners ask for your account number, billing zip code, but super easy to get connected. All right, so don't forget to come in and get connected to your suppliers. So now that we finished setting up our settings, right, our global settings, and got connected to some of our suppliers, let's head over to the Opportunities tab. All right, so in D-Tools Cloud, every project starts as an opportunity. Here we are on our opportunity Kanban board, right? So to be effectively communicating with your teams and to remind yourselves where we are with a client or where a bid stands, I always suggest editing your opportunity and project stages. So I'm going to find this ellipsis up here at the top, and let's edit these stages. All right, so this is my sales process. A new lead comes in. I'm going to schedule a site visit. I want to know when I'm quoting. I have a column here for my proposals shared so I can stay on top of everything that I've sent out. And then I also have a revising column just in case a client reaches out to me and we need to make some changes. All right, so if you take anything from this list, please add a proposal shared column again. That way you guys can stay on top of anything that you've sent out, follow up with the client, and get them to accept and sign your proposals. All right, and then on the projects tab, we're gonna get another Kanban board. I'm gonna find this ellipsis one more time, edit stages. So this is my post-sale process, right? So after a contract has been signed, I want to invoice my deposit and get paid. I also have two stages here for ordering equipment, and I want to know when all of my materials have been received. I also have an in progress state here. This is when my installation begins, right? You guys can break this out to your rough-in, trim, finished, or programming stages. However you guys decide to work, build that out here. And I also have a stage here for pending change orders, again, to just stay on top of anything that I've shared with my clients and make sure that we close out anything outstanding. And when your project is done, just move it over into the completed column. All right, but back to the opportunities tab. Let's create an opportunity together. I'm gonna call this, we're gonna work with Lee. So Nova Miami AB upgrade. All right, the only fields that are mandatory here are the ones that have this red asterisk by it, but I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a budget of 30 grand. Let's select my building types, residential, my market sector, my project type. I'm gonna pop in my lead source. I wanna track that. He's a former client. And here's where we're gonna pop in that fulfillment location. All right, so we're actually working in Miami, so I wanna make sure that those labor rates come over. All right, let's pop Lee in. All right, and here's an Atlanta address. I want to change this to his Miami Beach house. And you guys can create different site addresses on the client under the accounts tab. All right. And my Avalara tax integration is working. It's already filling in my tax here for me. And let's pop in our estimated close date. And create. All right, so here we are in our opportunity details. We're gonna jump straight into the quote, but notice that 250 is already here. That's my design fee. All right, so let's jump into the quote and into the design tab. All right, so we have two different styles of quoting. We have our list view, which is our more traditional view, and then we have the visual quote, which is where we're gonna pull in a floor plan and then mark that up with some items. So let's create two locations here. I want to work in the great room and in the backyard. All right, and we're going to add some products here. I'm just going to start searching in my search bar. I want to add a TV. Yeah, we'll add this one. Notice these three tabs up here too, guys. Favorites. This is anything that I favorited from my catalog, just to, get quick access to it. My catalog is anything that I've coded before or imported. And then the DTools library is giving you access to our entire database of products. All right, so I'm going to pop in this one. All right, we're doing some machine learning here. I've used this mount before. It's asking me if I want to add it again. Another really nice feature, but I'm going to go ahead and pass. All right, let's add a Solan sound bar. Yes. We'll add a media player. Add one more item. Let's add a 2 gig control panel. All right. So when I select an item, my product detail bar is going to slide out from my right. And here is where I can take a look at my price summary. Right, so my cost is supplier set, it's coming over from ADI, and I do have a brand price rule applied. Right, so we're already pulling in your specific dealer cost when connecting to suppliers, but we can also mass update your pricing with brand price rules. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and edit this. All right, so right now my price is 10% more than my MSRP. Right, so if you wanted to sell it at the same price, just change this to 100. But again, you guys can update all of your products for here. And the next time that you add any 2 gig products, the price is going to be 10% more than the MSRP. Leave the cost alone because you're already connected. All right. We also have labor tied to our equipment here. So D-Tools is telling me that it's going to take me 45 minutes to install this part. You can always come in and edit this. Right? I can change this to maybe 30 minutes. And you guys can also stack labor. So if I wanted to add maybe 15 minutes of programming here, I can do that as well. Come on. Okay. 14 minutes instead. All right. And if you guys aren't using your itemized labor option, as I mentioned before, you can always just search for your labor types here. All right, and I'll just use my installation, right? So it says 125 there. But once I pop it in, notice that price is actually 140 because we're working in Miami and not in my default location, which is Atlanta. We'll just mark that up a little bit. All right. A quick tip, mass updating margins. If you guys are in a rush and you need to update pricing on an entire quote, select all items here to the left, right? Hold down your control or shift for Mac users. Select the items that you want to update. Just going to select these 3 here. And if you scroll down some, you can change the margin on all of the selected items here. So I'm just going to change this to 50. All right. Let's do 40 instead. Don't know why this is not. There we go. All right, I can see that my margins have been updated. This is also my favorite way to create a package. Again, hold down Control or Shift, select your items, and then hit the New Package button over to the top right. All right, let's give it a name. We'll call this our Samsung Standard. All right, pop in your short and long descriptions. You can choose if you want to compute the pricing from all of these items, right? Here they are listed below, or you can pop in a fixed amount and just override that. All right, so it's at 54 now. Let's just call it 6 grand instead. All right, and I'm going to create my package. And there it is. All right, but let's get back into our locations. And whoops, I moved this in the backyard. I want to go ahead and drag these back into my great room. And actually, while we're in the backyard, let's add 2 cameras. And I'm going to pull those into my visual quote. Which ones do I want? Let's add some cameras. All right, let's add 2 of these to the backyard. All right. And then back into the great room, I do want to talk about alternates and optional items. So on this keypad, I'm going to hover and find this more option here. And let's add edit alternate. So I want to give my client a few different options to choose from here in my great room. And we'll just call this keypads for now. And I'm going to search for my items here. So I also want to add this touch screen. All right, and maybe a control for there it is. All right, and which one is more expensive? Let's go ahead and make this one the recommended option. All right, then we also have these labels. I like to use them for good, better, and best. I see people use them for different colors, for different cameras. If we were looking at TVs, maybe you would pop in the different sizes. So let's just use good, better, and best for now. All right, and let's go ahead and create this. Show 2 words. All right, and save. And then I'm going to give this alternate tag here. All right, so with an alternate, they do have to choose one. With optional items, they don't necessarily have to apply it to their quote. All right, so let's actually just pop something else in here and I'll show you what that looks like. Let's just pop this into, and I'm going to select the item. And under the quantity, I'm going to find this client selectable option toggle and just turn that on. All right. And you guys can also make entire locations and systems optional as well. All right, so let's get into visual quoting now. Again, this is where you guys are pulling in a floor plan, identifying your locations, and then marking them up with some icons, right? Or the products from your catalog or the DTools library. All right, so let's do that. I'm going to pull in a floor plan. All right, another tip or command, if you hold your space bar down, you can zoom in and out and also move your plan around a lot easier. And if you accidentally hit skip, I'll do later, there's an upload icon down here in the toolbar. All right, but before we get started, I'm going to find client mode. So the visual quote is a great way to get your clients excited by giving them a visual. But if you happen to be sitting with your client or doing a walkthrough, don't forget to turn on client mode to hide any sensitive pricing information, right? Like your cost and your margins. So that's up here, this more menu, turn on your client mode. All right. So the software doesn't recognize these locations until you drag and drop them out onto the floor plan. So I'm going to find this little green tab up in the top left and expand our locations. So by hovering over a location, you're going to get this little square icon here. And I'm just going to drag my great room out over the great room here on my floor plan. All right, and if your plan is already marked up with borders and names, here in your settings, if you find this gear icon in the bottom right, right, of that toolbar. You can also hide the location names and hide the borders. Right, but for training purposes, I'm going to leave that on, but I do want to change the color of this great room border so it'll stand out a little bit more. If you select your location, you can change your border color here. All right, you can also lock this position. Let's change this to, we'll go purple. All right, and then you can just start to drag and drop items from your list view. All right, here's your product detail bar again. Let me just zoom in a little bit. All right, you can size these icons to make them as big or small as you need them to be. All right, move these around, rotate them. Let's actually put this on a wall. All right. And maybe we'll add an item from our package here. All right. And we have an outdoor living area here. This shape is kind of weird. You guys can always just drag and drop the entire backyard over it, but I'm going to use our polygon shape. So find this locations icon. It's the same icon here in this toolbar. And instead of the rectangle location, select the polygon location. This will allow you guys to create random shapes. So I'm just going to click here in the corner. All right, in this other corner, here, here, here. And let's close this up. And let's link it to our backyard. And we'll make this blue. Let's lock our position and save. All right, to reset this, I'm just going to hit select here again. And there's our backyard or outdoor living area. And let's just drag some of our cameras out here. Actually, I'm going to enable our click to add. So you can drag and drop or click this button here. And let's just pop in these two cameras. All right, you guys can also start quoting directly from this view by just searching for items up here in the same search bar. So if I wanted to add maybe one more. Yes, we can use this one. Let's click add. I'm going to pop it here into my backyard. All right, and then when you're done, just make sure to hit this done green button up top so that you're not clicking all over. And now that I've added this item here, when I go back into the list view, it's also going to be there and it's also going to be in my proposal. All right, so some really nice features here. We also have coverage shapes. All right, so if I wanted to turn my coverage on and show my client exactly how far out this camera's reach is, right? I can grab my coverage shape here and move this around. And you can also just select an item and identify or define your angles, lengths, directions, and colors here as well. All right, and just apply it to all of your items. All right, so just a really nice visual. Again, it's really nice to get your clients excited. You can also add this to your proposal template, and I'll show you guys how to do that too. And yeah, start quoting here, start quoting in your list view. It's all going to filter into the same place. All right, and then one other tip here. In list or the visual view, when you hit this ellipsis again, there's also a way to review updates and change the pricing in your quote. It actually looks like it's gone now. Let me see. All of my pricing is up to date. Let me find a better example. Here we go. So up in the top right, you're going to get this little booklet, right, where you can see that there have been some updates to the cost and price in the catalog, right? So I can expand this here, see the differences, right? With my cost, same thing with my price. And all you have to do is update your quote, right? But if you've already shared it with the client, feel free to just ignore these updates. And again, you're going to get that notification up in the top right whenever changes have been made to the catalog. And you'll also find it here. But let's get back to Lee. All right, and I think we're good here with our quotes. Let's take a look at the proposal. So up in the top right, we're going to create our proposal. And this time we're going to select our multimedia experience. All right, so we're starting with a very basic template here, but I'm going to start adding some sections and pull in my company profile details from back in my settings. So you can add a section by clicking here on this green text over to the left, or just hover over each section and find this plus sign. So let's actually add my portfolio. All right, so again, this is pulling over from that company profile that we or added things to back in the beginning. All right, but I like this layout better, the grid, right? So add as many different case studies or services that you guys offer, and then you can always just hide the ones that aren't necessary, right, for the proposal or for the client. So I'm just going to turn off my details here and my conference rooms. All right, so portfolio done. I'm also going to add my testimonials. All right. Let clients know what it's like to work with us. And let's add some awards here. Let's do a little bit of showing off. I don't feel like we need the section title and outline. All right, again, you guys can hide whatever is unnecessary and always add more as well. And at the very bottom, I actually want to add my social media links. Let me turn off that title. And let's add my professional licenses. All right. Here are my quote default payment terms. You guys can always come in and customize this section as well. All right. Show your payment term dates or select a different template. Right. And here's that 60, 30, 10 that we created together. Let's go ahead and update this. All right. And here in the summary, again, there's that design fee for $250, right? Our miscellaneous materials is taking 5% off of my product total. And then I'm doing the same thing with my shipping and handling here. All right, and actually that design fee reminds me I do need to add my plan. Right, so I'm going to add an attachments section, and let's browse out to our quote and opportunity attachments, and let's pop in our plan. All right, and then the real meat and potatoes of the proposal. I'm going to edit the product section here, and you guys are going to get lots of options, right? If you want to group your items by location or system or both, right? How you want to display your group totals. There's some tabs up here, your descriptions. If you want to show the models, right, the brands, or if you want to summarize your packages, I'm actually going to turn the model off because I don't want them to go shopping, right? And then here's that Samsung package that we created. I actually do want to summarize that, so let's just clean that up a bit. All right, I like my alternate items expanded. And here you can also choose if you want to show the item pricing. But on this last tab here for accessories and labor, this is really important. If you guys are pulling in labor line items, like you see my installation labor here, I don't really want to show this in the actual bill of materials. I just want to bake this into my summary. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. All right, and again, it's just going to show up here in my summary. All right, so I think we have a pretty good looking proposal. I'll actually add one last section. Let's add a paragraph. All right, so maybe it's an overview about us or about what we do as a company. I'm going to edit my section and I'm going to find a snippet. And here I have my company profile saved as a snippet under my portfolio. So I'm just going to pop this in really quickly. All right, and save and close. Right, so adding all of that detail to your company profile just makes it super easy to customize your proposal template here. And then once you're happy with it, up at the top, find this templates icon, save it. That way you don't have to make these changes moving forward. And you guys can also save new templates and create as many different skins as you want and use them appropriately for different jobs and different clients. All right, so once you're happy with your proposal, let's actually take a look at it in present mode up in the top right. I want to see exactly what the client is going to see. This is looking pretty good. I can click into my gallery and scroll through these images. All right. And here are my locations with my products, right? And here's that alternate item. So as a client, I can choose which keypad or touchscreen I want to add to my great room. All right, and of course, update my proposal template. Again, you have to select an item when working with alternates, but with optional items, it doesn't necessarily have to be applied, right? So if I want to add this, I'm just going to hit this checkbox here, and I can see that it's been applied. All right, I can also view my own plan. All right, here are my items, and I can turn my coverage shapes on. All right, so I think this looks good. Let's talk about sharing it. So up in the top right, there's also this little airplane to share it. Right, pop in your client information, add your subject line, edit your message here. We also have something really nice called data tags. So if you wanted to personalize this a little bit, I can put the @ symbol here and find my primary contact first name. All right, and you guys can find these data tags all over in the software. All right, you can also save these email templates, same icon, just up in the top right corner. And before we send this off, I do want to call out our valid until date. Right, so after the 27th of September, they won't have access to this proposal anymore. They'll get a message that says that they have to reach out to me or whoever it was that shared the proposal. All right. And when you're done with this, just go ahead and send this off to your clients. Once they open it up, you're going to get an email notification and a notification in the software. Same thing when they decide to accept and sign. All right, guys. So just to recap, get into your settings, right? Add your company profile details in there, set up your adjustments, your taxes, your payment terms, right? Just make sure you're set up. Then don't forget to come to the catalog and manage your pricing by getting connected to your suppliers. Edit your project stages and your opportunity stages, right? To kind of map out your sales and post-sale process. And then start quoting, edit your proposal, and share it with your clients. And at this point, guys, you should be able to successfully submit a rockstar proposal and manage your sales forecast and pipeline. This definitely isn't the end. We have great project management, scheduling, time tracking, and ordering features. Inventory features are scheduled for release very soon, and lots more. So please don't hesitate to reach out to your account managers to talk about adding training hours or scheduling time with customer success managers like myself to learn more and really use this tool to its best capability.